Do you enjoy solitude? Do you like to take risks? Do you like to work without being interrupted? How about this one? Do you like to think before you speak? Even though these four questions may sound like they come from a dating website, they actually come from Susan Cain's Introvert versus Extrovert quiz, based off of her book, Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. Going into this speech, what would you consider yourself? Would you be an introvert or would you be an extrovert? So today, we will first compare their definitions. Next, we will investigate their scientific differences. And third, we will watch them practice their different leadership styles. So first off, what exactly is an introvert and extrovert? According to the textbook, Psychology of Discovery Experience, extroverts are people who seek out and enjoy their company. If you have many of the characteristics associated with extroversion, you tend to be bold, confident, energetic, and optimistic. You handle social situations with ease and grace. Carol Bainbridge, who has a bachelor's degree in psychology, stated on giftedkids.com that introverts are more concerned with the inner world of the brain. They enjoy exploring their thoughts and feelings. Those two definitions of introverts and extroverts are generally accepted around the world of psychology. But as Susan Cain states at the end of her quiz, not everyone is a pure introvert or a pure extrovert. Introverts attend wild parties and extroverts curl up with their favorite books. As the psychologist Carl Jung said, there is no such thing as a pure introvert or a pure extrovert. Such a man would be in the lunatic asylum. Encyclopedia Britannica, after their definitions of introverts and extroverts, states, most persons fall somewhere between Jung's two types. They are ambiverts, in whom introversive and extroversive tendencies exist in a rough balance and manifest themselves in response to different situations. Forbes.com, in their article entitled, Move Over Extroverts, Here Come the Ambiverts, states, because most ambiverts embody traits from both sides of the personality spectrum, in a sense, they have a built-in governor that regulates their exuberance. They don't trip up over the obstacles that handicap their more extroverted counterparts. So as Carl Jung said, many people are ambiverted, but many fall on either end of the introvert-extrovert spectrum. Ever since Carl Jung coined the terms introvert and extrovert, researchers have attempted to figure out the scientific differences between them. According to IO9 in their article entitled The Brain of an Introvert, researchers have figured out that introverts have more blood flow in their frontal lobe of the brain, a region of the brain that is linked to brain regions involved with recalling events, making plans, and solving problems. Building off that, according to Medical Daily, in their article entitled The Brain of an Introvert Compared to That of an Extrovert, Are They Really That Different? States, a 2012 study completed by Randy Buckner of Harvard University discovered that introverts tend to have larger, thicker gray matter in their prefrontal cortex, a region of the brain that is linked to abstract thought and decision making, while extroverts had less gray matter. Because of this fact, Buckner was able to figure out why introverts generally have to think longer than extroverts before making key decisions. In contrast, though, to the introverts as discussed in the IO9 article, researchers have shown that extroverts generally have more blood flow in brain areas involved with interpreting sensory data. Building off of that, extroverts generally say that they are happier people. Even though this is an interesting statement, two things have to be taken into effect when a statement like that is made. First off, how do you define happiness? Everyone defines it a different way, so how do we truly know who is actually happier? Building off that, according to IO9, scientists have questioned whether extroverts really are happier or if they're just more declarative with their feelings. Overall, a lot of work has been done to show how introverts and extroverts differ, but a lot more has to be done to fully settle how and why they differ psychologically. So where does being an introvert and extrovert take you in life? Which of these will make you more successful? Whether you are introverted or extroverted, you can still be a leader, but not everyone is perceived the same. In Quiet, Susan Cain writes, "We perceive talkers as smarter than quiet types, even though grade point averages and SAT intelligence test scores suggest otherwise." In one experiment in which two strangers met over the phone, those who spoke more were considered more intelligent, better looking, and more likable. Retired Army Colonel Stephen J. Garris, now a professor of behavioral scientist at the U.S. Army War College, echoes Cain's sentiments when he states, "I worry that there are people who are put in positions of authority because they're good talkers, but they don't have good ideas. It's so easy to confuse smoozing ability with talent. Someone seems like a good presenter, easy to get along with, and those traits are rewarded. Well, why is that? They're valuable traits, but we put too much of a premium on presenting and not enough on substance and critical thinking." So what does this mean? Well, it means that both introverts and extroverts can be effective leaders, even if their method of leading might be very different. Adam Grant, a professor at the University of Michigan, saw that extroversion and leadership didn't tell the whole story, and is discussed in Quiet. The research suggests, in at least one important regard, encouraging employees to take the initiative, introverted leaders would do well to go on doing what they do naturally. That is something that extroverts don't do naturally, and is something that Grant encourages them to implement. Looking at the definition of introverted in the Encyclopedia Britannica, there are multiple very important and necessary leadership skills highlighted, including being contemplative, being introspective, and weighing the risks and rewards before making a key decision. But then, looking at the definition of extroverts in the Encyclopedia Britannica, there are also multiple very important and necessary leadership skills highlighted, including being outgoing, responsive to other people, and then both aggressiveness and the ability to make quick decisions can be viewed as both a positive and a negative. In conclusion, both introverts and extroverts can be effective leaders, but they both have drawbacks that make neither one of them perfect leaders. In conclusion, comparing introverts and extroverts has fascinated scientists and psychologists ever since Carl Jung coined the terms. Since then, they have both attempted to figure out why they do separate things. So today, we have compared their definitions, investigated their scientific differences, and watched them practice their different leadership styles. Think back to earlier about when I asked you whether you were an introvert or an extrovert. Has your thought changed? Or maybe you are an ambivert. Remember though, none of these are better than any other, but they all have their separate advantages. Keep that fact in mind as you live the rest of your life. And whichever the type you are, embrace it, because that is how you're designed to live your life. Thank you.